Hello and welcome to Opinions Plus. Today is Labor Day, but who really cares? Who cares it's called Labor Day? It's the end of summer and start of school, or whatever the mood is for the world at the time. Well, there's a reason it's called Labor Day, and it started because people started to organize labor. In this political arena this year, labor seems to have a major input. A lot of the speeches given to labor unions and all, and it's a big deal. Even that Trump character is pretending he cares about labor. He makes up stories and disgusting things, just similar stuff. But why Labor Day? Who cares if it's Labor Day? Nobody really thinks about labor on Labor Day. They have Labor Day parades some places. They have things because it's a holiday, not because they're celebrating labor. And what is labor? This was a issue that started way back in times forgotten. The late 1800s. I think it was 1882 they had a Labor Day parade in New York City. This was time when people, they didn't get 40-hour work weeks then. They worked and worked and worked, and they had child labor. They had horrible situations. No ergonomics in their seating or care about health or OSHA or anything. These people would just work. Women would be abused as they always were, and there was no recourse. So people started to organize. People started to get, and it was a time of monopolies too, the Industrial Revolution was going great guns. The Rockefellers and all those people were Standard Oil and all that. All these things were happening. Labor needed to get together so that people could be treated decently. But this was back in 1882. And before that it started, but this was the big Labor Day parade. They had enough people to get together to support such a thing. They had union busting and labor busting, and people got killed, and it wasn't all friendly. Oregon, it was it was 1887. Oregon made it a state official holiday, and then in 1894, Congress made it a federal holiday for federal employees. Then other states got in and made it a general holiday, basically, as they got on to the labor train. But what was it all about? It was about fair and decent work conditions. And what was fair and decent work conditions today are horrific today. There weren't 8-hour work days and all this other stuff. They just wanted a decent pay for their work. That's all they wanted. And they wanted to organize, and trade unions started. But what did they call them? Socialists, and a variety of other things that were scattered around at the time. Communism wasn't as in play at that time, and they call it communism. It's a whole different world when you think back to the origins of these holidays. Why they were made, why they were created, why they're honored. People forget. Forget the suffering and the hardship and the oppression that was at the time. Labor, it's just labor. You just worked, man. That's all you did. There was no insurance. There was nothing. You just worked. You got to pay and you worked. Maybe you had a little garden. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you were just renting But these weren't high-paid jobs. They didn't have high-tech operations. There was a white and a blue collar. Well, the blue collar was really dirty. It was hard, tough work. People wanted to get, they didn't ask for much. They asked for a fair day's pay. You had this musical out there, Newsies, showed what people had to do. They were, they had to fight, they had to organize to get what? Fair treatment to some minimal degree. And each step took heartache and hardship. My question is, why on earth does it take so bloody long? And now today they're talking unions. What fair, decent union, auto workers and firefighters and all the different unions that they, talk about. Well, those auto workers are getting good money. Yeah, they have to stand on their feet or whatever they do. Let's see, I think I worked as in a union shop a short time. Most of the jobs I had were non-union. Federal government, you had a choice. You could join a union or not. But, there's just so much that lays behind these days to sit back and think about what people had to do to create a better environment that people complain about today as being horrible. It's just amazing to me that you can't think back and say and apply the common sense, the decency that people had then and they have now to say, give people a decent way to live. Why the hell do you have to fight for it all the time? Why is it so important that you can't give up a decent wage to make people live a comfortable life? It's either you've got everything or you've got minimal. Then they talk about the rising the middle class. That's a big thing today in the political arena. Well, middle class is important, but the poor are always important. They work the small jobs, the cleaning jobs, all these other things. They don't get the high money. They're not even unionized in many cases. The big money goes to a union because they have people to negotiate. You got power behind them. What happens to these other people? Labor Day should be for all people, all workers, everybody. Respect. Always goes to respect. Dignity. Honor. Understanding of decency. Apply these things. How you want, do unto others as you'd have done unto you. It's that simple. But it isn't, is it? No, we got to go through all kinds of machinations because of people's greed and avarice and their, consistent approach. They have so much power and money, many of these people. And it's not the little guy starting a shop who's trying to afford to help. It's difficult. You're starting out. You don't have the money. You don't have the resources. You do it all yourself many times. But there's a lot of situations where established organizations just don't want to give the wage, don't want to pay a decent wage to have people live a decent life. And so you can retain people, quality people. Management is everything. How do you manage it? Well, you manage society the way you manage anything to make it successful. Why not? Use Labor Day as a time to think about labor, not just unionized, not just trade unions and how to, the impact of, whatever it is, whatever union you want to talk about. Ronald Reagan tried to bust unions, the flight controllers, air controllers union, all these things, they do this stuff. Why? Why not just give people a decent wage and have decent medical insurance for everybody? Can it be done? It's difficult for some employers. Of course it is. They're not making the kind of coin. But many of these people do. and they won't give it up. They're the Scrooges. They hold it tight to their chest. Why? Because the clown, the poor clown below them, didn't earn it like I did. I don't know what their thinking is. But if you give people a decent wage, share your wealth, share your ideas, make it a better life for everybody. It's pretty simple. Think about it this Labor Day. Labor is for everybody, not just unions, not just the strong, powerful ones that are making $80, $90 an hour, but people who are making $7, $8 an hour. Respect, dignity, decency, honor, character matters. Go to the good. Keep hope alive. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe and send it on to someone if you find it has some merit. Thanks for listening, and always comment. Reach out to others. Talk to others. It's important these days. Character matters. Character matters. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.